All right, y'all, we've got a fresh new at Sephora today, and I've been so excited to film this because I finally get to share with y'all a redemption arc. First of all, I've got the Makeup Forever color stick things. What are they called? Artist Color Crayon. Creamy multi-use stick. I bought all of the like weird colors that I felt like would go with my skin tone. When I say weird, I mean like they're actually uncommonly beigey or brown or just exciting in their uncommonness. So we have Endless Cacao, Glazed Rose, Anywhere Caffeine, and Wherever Walnut. 3 of those, with the exception of the rose one, are like very, very famous shades that Makeup Forever puts in a lot of their formulas. So not that I'm rooting for anyone in particular, but like Makeup Forever has gone to all the trouble to have a rebrand, okay, with their packaging and everything. Like I wanted something to work and I've just had bad experiences with their stuff so far, and like this is giving redemption arc and I'm happy about it. Moving backwards in my routine though, we're gonna start with the uniform Tinted Mineral Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 45 from Merit. I have a lot of thoughts here. In fact, I have 2 shades of this. I will swatch both of them for y'all, but I'm gonna be using the shade 28 today. I have new highlighters from Sarah Creel. I don't know which one this one is. Yeah, this is today's highlights, which is my shade, but I have other ones as well that I will also swatch for y'all. I have the new shade expansion from Kosas. So these are their new like really vivid, they call them Extra Bite blush shades. So I have Heartbeat, Chills, and Wavelength. We're going to be using at least one of these, probably only one of these though, because they're really intense for my fair skin. That's the point of them. But I will swatch them for you. I did buy some lip things. I did do that. And 2 of them are the new Glossier lip glosses, which again, I have thoughts. I just have thoughts. And then I also got the new Glow Recipe Glass Balm in just the clear, and we'll use that as lip prep. So yeah, y'all, it's a bunch of really exciting stuff that has had a lot of attention online lately. I'm excited to put this look together for y'all. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna start by putting on some sunscreen. Like I did yoga earlier and I just showered before I got on camera, so I haven't actually put my sunscreen on yet. I'm gonna use the Allies of Skin, the one SPF 50 Invisible Sunscreen Gel. We love an SPF 50, that is my eyeball. There we go. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. And it's completely clear. Kind of smells like a pool floaty. Forgot about that. And you're like, Kackie. No, you're not. Literally no one is like, Kackie, why are you putting on sunscreen if you're about to put on a tinted SPF from Merit? Let's talk about it. This is the new Merit The Uniform. I have it here in 28 and 30. They sent these to me. Tinted Mineral Sunscreen, Broad Spectrum SPF 45. There are a lot of names given to these kinds of products. We have tinted moisturizers, tinted SPFs, we have BB creams, CC creams. Sometimes they have SPF, sometimes they don't. But the particular order of words to call something a tinted sunscreen, not a tinted moisturizer with SPF in it, not a skin tint that happens to have SPF in it, but a tinted sunscreen is a choice. It's not an accident. And listen, I will be the first one to say that I think that the discourse around SPF on the internet is a little bit overly vitriolic, okay? Like, I understand that the racial overtones of making something that doesn't blend into every skin tone is extremely important to the conversation, and that's why like tints, like things that actually have a skin tint to them that have SPF in them, is very important. But past that, people showing up in your comments and being like, you're platforming the wrong thing because you're not putting on enough SPF, blah, blah, blah. Like the SPF police show up in your comments telling you that you're like an ingrate for not putting on enough sunscreen. Like the internet has certain communities that are just like angry about everything, and I don't get it. It's like so easy to rage bait them. Regardless, when we're talking about something like this that purports itself to be a tinted sunscreen, you are well within your rights as someone of any skin tone to pump out the amount of this that you would use, which is supposed to be about 1/4 of a teaspoon, I think, on average, of what you would need to use as a sunscreen, and put it all over your face, okay? And that should be your sunscreen if they're claiming an SPF 45. That is absolutely not the case with this product. And so it's, I don't even think misleading, because I think that most people are savvy to it at this point. Like, I don't think anybody's looking at this being like, yeah, they're the ones who got it right. You know what I mean? Like, tons of brands have done this and they always do it wrong. Stop calling it a tinted SPF, okay? We don't care. just don't call it something that it isn't, because it's literally just a skin tint that happens to have some zinc oxide in it, 15%, great. We don't need the sunscreen claim, okay? Just let it be a skin tint, let it live on its own. I have a problem with that because the language basically suggests to the untrained person, which honestly most people are incredibly cynical at this point, that this is going to be sunscreen that you can use as your sunscreen that has been tailored to your skin tone. Someone really should do that, and I think some brands have, but no one is going to put on enough to qualify as an actual physical sunscreen barrier. So stop it. And that is literally, y'all, the tip of the iceberg in terms of like my opinion of the way that SPF is talked about on the internet. I think one of the biggest things is that people know that they're going to get tons of like ragey engagement when they talk about SPF in like a reel or something like that. And so they do it just to rile their audience up. They pretend to be so concerned about it. They pretend to be like a watchdog on behalf of the customer just to piss people off because it's good for engagement. Don't fall for that. Okay, so we have, you know, being a neutral human being, I'm torn. I'm torn as to which one of these actually matches me better, because I was using 28, which is the one that is more yellow, right? But 30 is so pink, and it's not a bad match. Honestly, it's better from a lightness standpoint for me than 30 is, but I still am gonna go in with the yellow one just because the pink, I will slowly tiptoe ever so steadily towards pink face, and I'd really like to like stay away from that as much as I possibly can. So those are the two shades. I will say what I said when I made some, you know, pretty sweeping assumptions as we were talking about this upon its release or its announcement. I talked about this in my last Tepid Takes, and when I saw the shade range, I was like, Merritt, call me, okay? Because this is too saturated for the fairness of these shades. They are too extreme for the fair-skinned people that they're supposed to be for. They work, yes, but we could do so much better in our awareness of what skin actually looks like, because neither of those is an actual, like, yes, they are actual people. People are that color, but like, those are pretty polar. And like, what am I expected to, like, you know, buy both and then mix them together? It doesn't really matter because you still have something that is so saturated. Do you see how that's neutral now because it kind of met in the middle, but it's still like more like intensely saturated in terms of chroma than my skin? That is an incorrect assessment of what fair skin looks like. Basically, it's not too dark, it's too saturated. And so it kind of just doesn't look like skin, it looks like an ice cream color, you know? So that's often what I'm annoyed by, but it does sheer out enough that it's not a big deal. But this is not an issue that is exclusive to Merritt by any means. I just think that we are doing a bad job by continuing to put out new lines, especially because Merritt not Merritt, but Catherine Power just put out that line at Versed, and those foundations have phenomenal shades, at least in my experience. I mean, the ones that I saw for like fair skin tones, at least, like, they're desaturated. They're really nice. Like, why are we doing, I don't know. Either way, I'm a little passionate about color, okay? I'll admit that. Maybe a little too much so. So anyway, we're gonna go in with 28, and when they announced these, they had them listed with like corresponding shades in their minimalist stick, which I'm also not a big fan of. Do you see how it's just not a skin color? Like, it's kind of a skin color. It's like if you were to like make a crayon that you would think would be a skin color, but it's not really a skin color. Anyway, they put them next to it, and like I was skeptical because this one said that it was gonna cover, I think, like 4 different shades in their minimalist stick, and their minimalist stick still leaves a lot to be desired in terms of like filling in between specific shades. So it works okay on me, but that's because two things. One, you wear it really sheerly regardless. It's just a sheer formula. But two, you should wear this sheerer than you think, because I'm about to speak to the actual performance of it, the behavior of it. If you try and layer this at all, or you put it on top of emollient skin prep of any kind, like I used a matte sunscreen, which I almost never do, ever. I usually use one that has 8 types of hyaluronic acid in it because I love having the extra layer of hydration. No, it will make this stuff gather in lines I did not know that I had around my mouth. I'm like looking at myself a few hours into the day and I've got like foundation gathered right here, and I'm like, since when? You know what I mean? Like on a skin tint with this little coverage, there are so many other things out there, you know? And I really had high hopes for it because, again, the minimalistic also seems to have really good intentions, but like, I'm asking you to, in my silence, look at the results on my face. Was anything really substantively improved in any noticeable way? I used a really strong salicylic the other night and I started to get these little red spots, just what happens sometimes. I have to kind of wait for them to pass, but it didn't cover anything. So like, what is it? Is it a skin tint? Not really. Is it an SPF? Absolutely not. I don't really know what it's for. Sorry. I don't really know what it's for. And my friend Sandra posted, she's, you know, on Instagram and on YouTube, she posted her experience with it kind of as she was working with it. She's like, I hate to say it, but I think that this is breaking me out, and I noticed it too. I asked her about it. She's like, I just noticed more congestion than usual. Like it was all a little bit ominous, right? You know, she didn't say that, but you know what I mean? How you like look close sometimes and you can see the, what are they called? Like the filaments filling in, like not necessarily blackheads, but you can see your pores kind of filling up. That's what this looks like after a couple of days of wearing it, and my skin just like my skin doesn't really like it. So I am gonna wash this off after I put it on, like, and show it to y'all. But I wanted to get an honest review and a visual out there for y'all, but I'm not the only person who's experienced potentially a breakout caused by this as well. And that's what it looks like. Honestly, it really doesn't look like much of anything. If you want something that does have SPF in it, it's not necessarily like the most consequential thing in the world, but I mean, the CL is an absolutely beautiful formula that does build and does perform. It has like a luminosity to it that's not for everybody, but I think that it is still really lovely, and honestly like a really good sunscreen, and then just a very lightweight skin tint that isn't going to disturb the SPF that you have on underneath it is just as good. You cannot tell me that I am actually gaining SPF 45 or anywhere close to it by putting what I just put on my face. Okay, I'm going to zoom through my concealer really quickly so that we can get to these Makeup Forever sticks. I am going to use some Ceracril because I need the coverage. Simple, quick, easy, and honestly, all the better because we are going to spend probably most of the time today talking about these Makeup Forever sticks because I'm gonna use them for as many steps as I can. I mean, let me go ahead and swatch them, but we're gonna use it for like contour, bronzer, blush, highlighter, eyeshadow. I'm still gonna try and use the Ceracril highlighter as well. We'll see. We just like shoehorn it into the routine. But these are the stars because they are such multi-use sticks by definition. All right, I got some big fat swatches for y'all here. So the coolest one there, this one right here that we're gonna use as my contour is Endless Cacao, which I think I have as a lip liner. Yes, I do. It's a beautiful cool toned lip liner. I use it with my MAC lipsticks, the new nude ones that are all kind of like funky and grungy. It works beautifully. The next one here is blushier. This one is Wherever Walnut, and you can see that is going to be like the closest thing we have in this array to a blush tone. They're all going to, you know, get on my skin, and then we will try to venture into the Kosas powder blush on top of it. We'll see how it goes. But this one right here is like our bronzer color. That's Anywhere Caffeine. I still might go in with an actual bronzer. We'll see. And then we have the highlighter shade right there, which is Glazed Rose. And as you can see, it is contrasty against my skin. It is not like a perfect, as you can see, it's not a perfect like blend into my skin highlight illusion. And so I'll go ahead and swatch the Ceracril as well for y'all. This one kind of isn't either. And this is also the fairest shade, but that's gonna leave us a little bit of room to use the Ceracril, I think. And I'll swatch it again with the other shades in a minute. But the other thing that is kind of worth noting here as you're looking at these, if you get kind of easily dazzled, right, is to, especially like the ones that are a little bit more, I don't know, towards the middle of like could be blushy, to swatch those against some things. Because we've been talking about the ones from Haus Labs, the new shades from Haus Labs pretty recently, and like Glassy Clove right there, it is completely different from these, which is great news. You're not like collecting dupes here. Dupes to me is short for duplicates. It's not always less expensive. Glassy Cayenne is not a particularly special color in my opinion. As you can see, it's still pinker than Wherever Walnut is the pinky one. You see, it's still just a little more like mainstream than Wherever Walnut. And then I have Glassy Cinnamon, which is a pretty remarkably close color to Anywhere Caffeine. It's a little bit redder, a little bit more blushy. Anywhere Caffeine is going to be a little bit more like terracotta tan towards orange, but they could be mistaken for one another, you know? And then another weird one is what? Unsweetened? Does that matter? So there's Unsweetened from MAC also. Very similar to the House Labs one. Glassy Clove, not so much the new Makeup Forever ones. Cool, cool. Okay, so this is what the component looks like. It is a really nice, heavy, substantial feeling thing, you know, with the tonal packaging, which I love when I don't have to check the label of something to know what freaking color it is, because they made the outside packaging, especially from a makeup artist's standpoint. That is something that is super, super intuitive when you're just kind of reaching for something in a hurry, is to be able to know what color it is from the outside packaging. Now, the only thing that I'm not a fan of, and I'm not gonna let this be a deal breaker because it does not linger by any means. It's certainly not as offensive or strong as it is in like the lip product or the foundation, for example, but they do have the scent. And I don't know of all the scents, because there were two decisions made here. One was to have a scent in the first place in a backstage brand. And now a lot of them do, but they didn't used to. It didn't used to be like a very common thing for a makeup artist oriented brand to have a lot of fragrances in their stuff. NARS still doesn't. But the second decision was the scent that they chose, and it is not good. It's not good. It's not good. It's a very cloying kind of like floral candy sweetness that's just icky. I don't like it, but in this case, like I put it on and then I don't think about it again. It's not a big deal. So I'm gonna do two things here. I'm gonna draw on this side of my face, and then I'm gonna apply from the bullet like with a sponge on this side of my face so that y'all can kind of see the difference. I am not a big fan of pushing product around once it's on my face, and so this is not something I typically would do, but I also want to like demo that it's possible with these. So here we have Endless Cacao, and that's going to be our contour shade. If I forget to blend something, please yell so that I can hear you. I'm gonna do this part with a brush. I've got the BK109, and I'm being pretty aggressive with the, you know, the actual applications, because they're a very manageable amount of pigment. You know, there's nothing kind of trying to be shocking and like, you know, TikTok viral about this. Like people are gonna go, oh my God, it's so pigment. Like they're just trying to make them useful. And I really appreciate that. Now, when I did fall in love with them, because I am in love with them, I went on SEPHORA to like buy more, and I realized I have the colors that I want. They have a lot of colors, and I'm glad to see it, because there are also, for all the excitement that I have about these particular grungy persuasions of colors, they have grungy persuasions of colors for other skin tones as well, which is great. Like that is what you would hope, right? And so buying the ones that I did, I was like, these are the grungy ones that I am excited about for my skin tone, and I am so content with my purchase. It's not, I mean, yes, would I love to have all of them so that I could swatch all of them for you? Yes, but for my own face, I think that I got what I wanted. So, there is contour. Yeah, it's a little like stark, because I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, like that's not necessarily something that's like very built out in my skill set, is blending something once it's already on my skin, but it's gonna end up really nice looking, I promise. We will do the same thing on this side with L'Esponge. It's an interesting contour color. It's definitely not, you know, comparable to like my Dior or something like that. It has that like little bit of green to it, but it is much like almost like sootier, you know? It's a true, almost like it's got a little bit of like a purpley thing to it. I don't know, it's a really, really good color. It starts to kind of make the mind work in a way that you feel like you're painting instead of that you're like putting on makeup necessarily, or that like this is an item that goes in a certain place on my face. You just start to think in terms of color and texture, which is my favorite way to think about makeup, is to just kind of dissociate in that respect. Oh my God, I have to swatch this against the Makeup Forever palette, because I realized the only other thing that I talk about that way is the Makeup Forever HD palette thing with all the little colors in it, whatever the heck it is. And yeah, I think that it's important to show y'all like what you'd be either missing or duplicating if you bought these and already had that. We'll do that after I put all of this on. All right, so that was Endless Cacao, and we are contoured. Real quick, just a demo, like if you have the, for example, like Dior contour, like they're very, very different from each other. Extremely different from each other. Okie dokie. Next, we're gonna go in with Anywhere Caffeine. We're going to treat this as my bronzer. And you can see, I mean, you can be kind of aggressive with it. And it is a little bit blushy for a bronze. So I am probably going to end up going in with like another bronzer at some point. Maybe I will use like the Sarah Creel just to kind of like stay on track, on brand. But let's see how far we get with that. Yeah, I started playing with these on my own. And then I just started sending videos to all my friends when I was done. I was like, look, it's so pretty. I was just so excited with what I was able to achieve. It was mainly H. Allen and Rebecca. I'm just like, looky, 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 looky. They're so freaking pretty. Like, so easy. It just brings me so much pleasure to find products basically that are this easy to use, because then I get to tell y'all the good news. I'm gonna go with the brush on this one, on this side. So that's gonna give you kind of a little bit of a sunburn color in a really beautiful way. I might have put on a bit too much. I might have gotten a little overzealous there, but I will probably end up putting more on also, so. Even them out. But I mean, it's stupid easy. It's stupid easy to use. All right, then we have Wherever Walnut, and that's gonna be the one that is like the most blushy. So I will layer that here and a little bit here. Give us even more of that sunburn effect. I'm gonna blend that underneath my eyes. It really doesn't take much agitation to move these around either. I'm more dabbing than I am buffing. There's like a tiny, tiny flick of the wrist there, but for the most part, it is just kind of a dabbing motion. And what I love about these too is like they do have the kind of matte creaminess to them that I can use them in an eyeshadow look as well. And they go on beautifully, and they actually wear. And I don't feel like it's gonna be a really bad idea, although, I don't know, it might be a really bad idea. We'll see once we get like the eye look on and everything, whether I wanna do the Kosas Blushes. Look how great that is! Oh, it's just, it's so natural looking and it's so easy, it's so fast, it's so intuitive. The colors are so well mixed. Like, as I was talking about like the simplicity, like over simplicity of those like Merit complexion shades, I'm looking at these being like, yes, those are grungy, those are proprietary, you know what I mean? Like someone cared, and someone cared a long time ago, because these are colors that have existed for a long time in these, you know, in other products, and they just put them in here. But someone thought to put them in here, and someone thought to make this product in the first place, which is great. Look at the texture that's on the skin. Look how blurred that is. Look how well they layered on each other. That is not always the case, okay? Like a lot of times, one, maybe two, but like putting a third one on top will just be an absolute deal breaker. And those just, they just keep happily layering with one another. They're wonderful. And then we have, I don't know, I might not do this. I think I want to do the Sarah Creel instead. This is pretty, the highlighter-y shade that I got, this rosy one, but I will say, it's not my favorite of the ones that I got. Like, it's fine, but it's kind of giving blush more than it's giving highlighter, and that's not where I'm at right now. And I also don't want to kind of lump it in with my praise. It's fine, like, it's fine. But I think my experience today is very complete with these three. I do wish that I had gotten a lighter shade in it. I think that the rosy one is just a little bit dark for me. I think that it's good though. I think that it is a very good formula. It's just not for this makeup look right now. So I'm gonna use the Sarah Creel bronzer right here. And then I'm also going to use the new highlighter, but I'm gonna swatch the new highlighters for you. I got 3 shades. They're really, really cool looking. Like, when you look at this, like, looks like a little galaxy in the dark one. It's cool. They're so gel based that you can kind of see straight through, and I love that because I want basically a highlighter that's in the Makeup by Mario formulation of his like soft sculpt skin enhancer, and that's what I feel like these are kind of going for. But as you can see, those being the first 3 shades, I think, maybe the only 3 shades, I'm not sure. Even the lightest one, today's highlights, is still a little bit darker than my skin tone. It's not ideal. I wish that there was something that was a little bit either pinker or even more champagne or silvery, but it will still do the trick. This is the Sigma F48 soft coverage, and we're going to gently build a really nice little C shape here, even underneath right there, because it's actually very subtle. Even though it has a little bit of shimmer to it, like actual visible particles to it, it's not just a texture. Still, I don't feel weird putting it underneath my eyes or anything. God, it's so freaking pretty. Like, I would say mostly texture type highlight, but it's so pretty. Oh, it's really, really pretty. And it does satisfy what I was hoping for, which is, like I said, the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer. I love the bronzing effect of it, but like I would love to have a highlighter version of it so that I could just like use it to bring skin texture back on certain parts of my face that I don't necessarily want bronzer in. That's gorgeous. That's so pretty. And I'm gonna use the Just Like Paradise bronzer in 1. This one is a little bit green, so maybe it will work even better with this look just because I have so much kind of like terracotta bronze happening. Maybe it'll kind of cancel out into something a little bit more beige, a little more natural looking from a bronzing standpoint. But I do love working in all of these like thin layers like this, even though very clearly, you know, I'm changing my skin tone in those places. It's still so natural looking. Everything is so blended. I have no complaints. I have no complaints. I mean, this is how I want to look. I like my natural skin to show through. I want to be able to hide the imperfections. And I just want everything to look like it kind of grew there if I was one of God's favorites, you know what I mean? Like, that's what this makes me look like. And I do think that once this kind of soaks in for a minute, we will have some room to put on powder blushes. But we'll see. Time will tell. All right, let's go back in with the Makeup Forever sticks in my eye look. That's where we're going to start building from. I'm going to go with the Singe Beauty E04. This is a really great shape for a cream product on the eyes. It's like a flat, fluffy paintbrush. It's got enough firmness to it that it's gonna boss the product around properly, but it's fluffy enough that it's gonna blend it at the edges and not just like push it around and make it all patchy. So I'm gonna start same way we did on my cheeks. We're gonna start with Endless Cacao. I'm gonna build that right in my crease. Now, are these absolutely dry down forever, stay put waterproof the way that you would get out of like an eyeshadow stick? No. But that's also what affords me the ability, since these are now on my eyes and a little bit patchy looking, to be able to take something else like a BK202 and just blend the edges because it's gonna stay somewhat movable. See? And it's also a great base for a powder, like a powder eyeshadow, you know? You can set that and get long wearing out of it. But look, I mean, God, it's stupid. It's stupid how easy that is. And what I love about using the same thing on your eyes that you did on your face is that you never end up with more drama than you bargained for because everything's at the same level of drama. Everything's at the same level of contrast. If you haven't watched my contrast video or my color theory series to begin with, like, go do that also. It is a lot of fun and I feel like it will crack your brain open in a way that will just make you think about the makeup that you already have in a completely different way. Going in with Anywhere Caffeine, it's going to be that bronzer color. I'm gonna move basically like we did on my cheeks from a relatively cool color to a relatively warm color. Oh, can you tell I am in my color theory bag with these products? Like, I love working with these because they afford me the ability to demonstrate the nuanced shifts in warmth and coolness in order to manipulate shadow and light in the subtlest ways that still achieve the illusion without, you know, at least not yet, piling on like glitter and stuff in order to achieve it. You can do that, obviously, but to use something like this, I mean, it almost doesn't look like you're wearing makeup, because it's all in these like skin native tones and the texture is so skin-like. It turns out that making yourself a smoothie does not in fact make you less hungry. You do have to actually drink it. The same thing goes for water. You can't just fill it up and set it on the counter. That doesn't hydrate you. Follow for more tips. And maybe we will use the shimmery one on my eyeballs. Let's try that. Yeah, this is the rose one. What's it called again? Glazed Rose. Work that onto my lids there. Are these gonna crease? Probably. You know, probably. I would not recommend this necessarily being the last and, well, I mean, it could be the last and final step. Understand that it's probably gonna crease. Creasing is not the end of the world. But there are people who have oily eyelids who like, creasing really is the end of the world because it's like, once it starts, it's game over. So, you know, phytosurgeons exists and like eyeshadow sticks exist for those reasons. And like, does Makeup Forever do an eyeshadow stick? I don't know if they do. All right, I forgot to swatch it against the other palette. So I'm gonna use Wherever Walnut here, the kind of pinky one, to bring all the life into this before I probably, again, inevitably go in with like a glitter or something to finish it out. But after that, I will swatch it against a little palette that I love so much. I actually don't know how much I like that with the pink. It's a little too pink for me. That's okay, we're gonna probably put glitter on it, so. Hello! Chanel! Oh, well, it wouldn't be in with the powder blushes, Kackie, you ding dong. It'd be in with the creams. Have another, Mom. All right, here we go. So does this one doesn't have shade names in it. So this is what I'm talking about. I should say these little guys retail for $33, so 3 for $100. And then this one is $88, I think. So let's swatch the relevant things. So the most similar that we get is Wherever Walnut to, yeah, that is the rust color in there. That's not even like a pinker color than that. That's rust, like you wouldn't believe that. And just for reference here, because it's like, okay, I'm using one of those as a contour, like the contours are very different from each other. That's the contour on the Make It Forever palette, and that is Endless Cacao. So there's really no significant crossover in there, I don't think. I think I'm just gonna finish this out with like the Freedom palette from Danessa Myricks, just like the tan and the shimmer real quick. Do an eyeliner and mascara on my brows, and then we will come back and put on some blush and talk about some lip stuff, and also put it on, but mostly talk about it. Okay. Eyebrows are like where I store my power. As soon as I put tinted brow gel in, I'm just like, there she is. I see photos of myself, I'm like, what is it about my makeup that's so great that one day? And I'm like, it's the eyebrows. Someone commented that I had gone brow blind, and I was like, girl, I'm happy. I'm like living in my brow blindness heaven. I don't give a crap. One thing that we did not do was use any means of lip prep like I said that I was going to. So let's do that. This is the new one from Glow Recipe. I just have been interested in Glow Recipe in general, you know, so I went ahead and did this. And it is a clear lip balm. It smells very subtly of, you know, a sweet, probably watermelon scent, maybe, but it is, again, very subtle. And we will just use that to do that. I mean, I think that it's just kind of like a, yeah, that's a good product. Like, it's a pretty good lip balm. It's fine. It doesn't do anything to offend me. That's about all I can say about it. I do feel like all lip products in general that have been coming out lately have been thinner than I want them to be. It's like the trend right now is to just have these things that are a little bit more akin to lip oils, and I'm like, they're just not giving me the satisfaction that I want. What I want is not in style right now. We've all been there. Let's swatch some Kosas blushes, because as I was putting this on and getting it all done and whatnot, I was like, this needs blush. Like, I just very much felt like everything on my face needed blush, so I'm still game for it. We're gonna pick one out together though. So these are Vivid. Do not adjust your televisions. They are vivid. I really think that what they were going for here, besides obviously that they wanted them to be vivid, was just that like when the first Blushes Life release came out from Kosas, even the shades, because there were like 4 that were meant for like lighter skin and there were 4 that were meant for slightly deeper skin. I think that still the deeper ones ended up with too much swirl of whatever had the shimmer in it. And so it wasn't necessarily the color, it was like the saturation of mica in the formula itself that just came off really gray on some people's skin, and that happened with like the Fenty as well. It is just something that happens when we put too much mica in a gosh darn product. Now this does happen. Like, these are not screwing around. So like as I'm swatching, like the swatches look kind of weak, kind of, only a little bit, but it's mainly because like they kind of don't really agree with the nature of swatching. Like, they don't transfer from my fingers back to my hand really well, and that's why. Like, they don't look like they're going to be these really like juicy products on the skin, and they really, really are. They just don't love this as a process. They're extremely finely milled, and they like kind of stained. Everything that we have put on has been kind of in this like pinky brown persuasion. I want to go towards purple because I'm crazy. I used this one yesterday, and I mean, granted, you have to absolutely whisper it onto my skin for it not to completely take over, but it's a risk I'm willing to take because it's so pretty. You can see it's still in the brush from yesterday. I could probably just apply it from there. No, not quite. Okay, touch like that. This is not a cautionary tale. I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, you guys. Oh my God, you guys. It's so pigmented. No, this is me, a fair-skinned person, using a product that's not made for me. In hopes of demonstrating to the people who it is made for, because I'm one person with one face, that this is gonna be like an exciting development for you, you know? You've got like these really, really vivid colors that are actually gonna show up on your skin. Like, amazing, right? So, anyway. Ooh. Ooh. I'm telling you, there's really not much on that brush, and it is showing up. I'm working from the back of my hand. Okay, let's do a little bit more. And just like that, we are blushed. So that should tell you what you need to know about this formula. It's serious stuff. I'm gonna put a little bit of it in my eye look just to kind of make things make sense to me visually. That might not look like anything to you, but it makes all the difference in the world to me. Yeah, okay, so typically in these sort of circumstances, and I'm going to do it right now, a lot can be gained from using the Victoria Beckham matte bronzing brick and kind of blending the edges here because I don't have any setting powder on my face right now. So I use the lighter shade here, and I use that to marry those two things together without them being so reflective and stark. Do it here as well. All the lines, just blur the lines. A little bit of clear brow gel, cool feet. Free the brow. And then we're gonna talk real quick about these here Glossier lip glosses. A lot of times when we have a product on here that we're reviewing, right, I'm following up from talking about it on a Tepid Takes, which is my series where we chat about new beauty releases. And so if y'all watched that, you know that I was so over the moon excited about these. Maybe I was a little eager to be excited about anything, okay? Forgive me for that, but I think we could all be forgiven for that. We just all kind of need a win right now, you know what I mean? So I was really pumped about these because they sounded like my ideal lip gloss. The new, what are they called? Lip glaze from Glossier. They come in a lot of shades, allegedly, because all the swatches are clear. I mean, they are all effectively clear. That's what a lot of the comments that I got said. They were like, don't buy all of them, Kackie. Like, they're clearly so similar. Like, they have so little pigment to them that, you know, you've seen one, you've seen them all kind of thing. And so I did the bare minimum, essentially, of like what I wanted to do, which is buy the cool toned ones because I love a cool toned lip gloss, like sheen, sheer situation on the lips that actually stays that color and doesn't pH color adjust. And I was also excited that like, I think that they're a little bit tingly and minty and like plumping. I don't think that we are going to do anything bad by putting these on, but we might not do anything noticeable at all. I'll start with the blue because I think we're gonna end with the purple. And I mean, I have to say y'all were right. Like, you know, the swatches did not lie. It is a nice little product from Glossier. Glossier is known to be like, oh, you think you're going to get pigment? Well, think again, my friend. We don't do that around these parts. No, they do, but like they will also make something that is so low coverage or so low pigment sometimes. But that's blue. Again, if you say so. You know, could I pile that up and get something a little cool toned out of it? Maybe? It's a little blue. It's definitely a little bit blue. I mean, you can see in the tube, it's a little bit blue. That's about all the credit that I'll give it, but also I really love the original Glossier lip gloss. And this one really falls into what I was just saying about how all the lip products coming out right now are just thinner than I want them to be. I miss the syrupiness of the original Glossier lip gloss, and this is so thin, it feels like it's going to just climb across my face when I'm not looking. Like, it feels like it's gonna run. I get that it is supposed to be a lip oil-ish kind of thing. Yeah, oh boy, those letters are small. Cooling, creamy lip oil. I guess it's cooling and it's creamy and it's a lip oil. I mean, it hits all the marks. I just was kind of hoping for something greater than the sum of its parts, I guess. And like, they're just really thin. And I wanted just more commitment in every way. Something can be thin and still have grip to it, but it's so thin and it's so slippery. It's not my favorite. I'm probably, I don't know, I guess I'll wear them, but like there are just better things. It's pretty. It is pretty. Let's do the purple. It's so slippery. It feels like it just goes whoop, you know what I mean? Like it feels like the wear time would be a non-existent. And I have worn them, I just don't remember what the wear time was like because they're not very memorable, unfortunately. I always say that like with a complexion product, forgettable is a good thing because it's like I want to put it on and forget about it, but anything else at color cosmetic, the worst thing you can do is be forgettable, sorry. Purple. It does have that adorable little like reservoir tip, sorry, that the Makeup by Mario ones do too that I really like. It kind of picks up the right amount of product. In fact, it kind of picks up a little too much product in this case. I definitely think that the Makeup by Mario ones achieve what I was hoping for out of these better than these do. That's more visibly purple. In fact, I might go back to the blue. Like it's kind of a little too purple. It's kind of a little too purple. It's like a little too blue purple. Why is it like that? Why is that one more like visibly the color that it is than the blue? Why are we quibbling about this? Why are we even still talking about this? Because this is my job to sit here and split hairs about something that is just like barely a color, but it's still unpleasantly lilac to my eye. Sorry, not unpleasant in general, just unpleasant with this look. All right, blue it is. I blew myself, but you wouldn't know. I don't know. It's not a run out and buy it situation. It's just kind of one of those products that I feel like, I almost feel stupid sometimes when I end up with something in my hands that's, as I'm trying to describe it, I realize, oh, there's a really high chance that this was made for a child. Because there are so many younger people shopping at Sephora now that there are things that brands are making specifically to cater towards them. And so something that's really low pigment doesn't really do much of anything. It is more of like a style commodity sort of like flex for a little, you know, like a teenager or preteen to like pull out of their bag at school. Like I feel like that's what I bought. Oops. Okay, well, all of that said, let's go into final thoughts, y'all. The Merit, the uniform. Wow, this is a case of my expectations were pretty high, all things considered, especially because when you first start using this, it feels like a tinted reverse emulsion. Call it that. Someone please release a complexion product and call it a tinted reverse emulsion because like, that is what I want. I want something that behaves like a reverse emulsion, but also is a foundation. That would be beautiful. That's kind of what this seems to want to do. But in all practical terms, it doesn't pan out. It just doesn't pan out as a good complexion product because it kind of gathers. It's a little too emollient. It doesn't really dry down and it has no coverage. It doesn't pan out at all as an SPF because you're putting so little of it on. When you do pile this on, it does not work. It's incredibly unpleasant and it will gather in places that you didn't even know you had. And also the shade range. I can't with these shade ranges right now, y'all. I'm not gonna just accept this like, yeah, I guess it works kind of thing. It's like, okay, but do they deserve your money? That's the question I ask myself. Do they deserve your money? And like, there are just things that deserve your money and have done a better job of earning it than this did, so. That is my take. I'm glad y'all got to see these in action because while I think that they are absolutely incredible, so fun to use, so easy to use, so intuitive and unique in terms of their colors, I also wanted y'all to see kind of how subtle they are when you get them on. There's something to be said for that. Some people want something really subtle that like you can't get carried away with these, which is really nice. You're not gonna get something wildly high impact, at least not out of like the nuanced brownie shades here, but you're gonna get something so natural looking and gorgeous, and they do have, like I said, you know, more colors obviously, but also more funky, grungy colors in deeper skin tone oriented shades. So that's fantastic. I just think the world of these. I think that they're a lot of fun. I also think they're really travel friendly and they're really good for people who might be kind of like beginners, if you will, at experimenting with using color on the skin in a way that isn't just like obeying necessarily the rules of what a product says that it is. Like you get a color of something and then you start kind of experimenting with it. And these are just so experimentation friendly. I hope I showed y'all the full spectrum of the experience here. I really think the world of these. I think they're great. Sarah Creel has done something here. Again, we're really working in makeup right now that is mostly texture, very little pigment, and I'm not mad at it. It's just something that, again, it's like what we're gravitating towards. And these are very much that. I mean, we have already used the bronzer here on my channel and I do like it very much. It reminds me a lot of the Makeup by Mario, but you know, different colors, which is great, and a little more pigment. And I do want the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancer in a highlighter format. So this does make sense and I really like it. So it's not necessarily like something everyone should run out and buy, because I mean, other things do exist. Like, you know, we had a highlighter today that I didn't end up using. Like I said, it's a little too dark, but like the Urban Decay one, if you already have this one from Makeup Forever, there are plenty of really beautiful balm highlighters out there that are really subtle. You don't need to rush out and buy this one specifically, but it is really lovely. And I do really like her choices right now in the packaging of her compacts and everything. I just find them to be unique, easy to find in my collection. I feel very confident in recommending these. If you are someone who has deep skin and you are frustrated with things either showing up ashy on you or not showing up at all on you, I feel pretty confident these are gonna show up on you. And they're in exciting colors. We didn't just go for like a rose pink or like, you know, a red. Like, we went for like a vivid hot pink. We went for this beautiful orangey coral, and then this absolutely incredible kind of like, what would you even call that? Like a plummy fuchsia? These are cool. These are really cool, and you don't end up with all the sheen and shimmer and mica that you did from the last ones, but they still have the same ease of use and buildability. I would love to see these on deep skin. Like, I'm really looking forward to more reviews from people. And as for the lip products, I mean, none of these was anything to write home about. I want things that are thicker regardless, but like, this is fine. This is fine. I will use this until it is gone, most likely, but it's, again, not a run, do not walk situation. And like, I feel like just believe your eyes. Just believe your eyes across the board. Like, is this an evil product? No, from Glossier. It's just not for adults. And it doesn't mean you can't use it. Enjoy, you know, live your life. But like, I do not think that this was primarily conceived of for adults. I think that it was made for Sephora kids, okay? I just think that it was. I hope y'all found this valuable. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up. If you're new here or you just have not subscribed yet, please subscribe while you're here. We would absolutely love to have you. I'll put a video up here that I think that you will enjoy if you liked this one. Thank y'all so much for being here. I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.